In this lesson, we're going to take a look at some of the ways we can match shots in a timeline using the color page in Resolve. I'm going to start with our color transform on shot 65, and I'll go ahead and select everything kind of in this little scene. I just select this first shot, hold down Shift, and select the last shot, and then I can middle button mouse click on shot 65 to load that color transform on all of our shots. And generally what we're trying to do is two things. One, when you switch back and forth in between the shots, they should feel like they're in the same world. There shouldn't be a huge difference in exposure or in color cast or in contrast or in saturation. It should just feel natural. The other thing we need to look for are common elements. So if you see a lamp in one shot, it should pretty much look the same in another shot. Here, our common elements is just the carpet. Here between 68 and 70, we have the couch here, and then the couch in the wide shot. And so ideally, the couch in this close-up is going to look exactly the same as the couch in the wide shot. And they should certainly feel similar. When I switch back and forth, I should feel like these are in the same world. The first thing that pops out is this shot 70 feels a little bit bright compared to shot 68 that looks really dark. Now, this could be for two reasons. One, this could be that shot 68 is too dark, or it could be that shot 70 is too bright. Generally, what you want to do is figure out which shot you like more right now. And I think I like shot 68. In fact, it's a good idea to kind of work on this shot and then kind of match everything else to it. So we're going to use all the tools that we've learned in the last chapter to make this shot exactly how we like. So let's start by building some nodes here. I'll change my label to exposure, and I'll hit Alt S for a new serial node, move our color transform down. This next one will be temp and saturation. I like to put those both in the same node. Then we'll do contrast, and those should be the major adjustments we need. In fact, I'm going to take all of these nodes from shot 68, and I'm going to shift select our whole scene here and middle button mouse click on 68. So now we have all these empty nodes that are labeled added to all of our different shots. So let's start on shot 68, and I'm going to boost up the exposure. So let's take the offset up a little bit. We're just going to boost that up, and we'll go over to our contrast, and maybe I'll boost the contrast up a little bit, bring the pivot down just a touch, move over to our temperature and saturation. And I think we'll take the temperature down just a little bit because I like to have a little bit of that cool kind of tone in the back. And let's loop this, turn off the sound and play it. And we can make a bunch more adjustments here, but let's say that we like it like this. I'll switch over to shot 70, and we'll just start by middle button mouse clicking on 68 and seeing if that works. Now, it definitely doesn't. This is way brighter than 68. So what I like to do is just kind of start this out by memory. Imprint this in your mind about how it looks. Switch back over to 70. Let's go to our exposure node, and we'll take our offset down quite a bit. We'll just take it way down. So now if we switch back over to 68 and then back to 70, you should start to feel like they're in at least the same world when it comes to how bright it is. Maybe we'll take that down a little more. And now that's feeling a lot more reasonable. One thing is that shot 70 feels like it should be greener. Feels like it's a little bit too pink. So we'll go to temperature and saturation, and we'll take the tint just away from pink, just a touch, just a little bit. Let's switch back and forth, and now we're really getting closer. This nice kind of mid-green tone for our sofa matches with the wide shot. Because this is such a close-up, we just need to make sure that her skin looks nice, her hand looks like it should in between these shots, and I think it looks just fine. So now we've kind of matched both of those shots. We have kind of the deep shadows here, with the deep shadows here. It's not too bright, not too dark, not too saturated. Everything looks about right. Now that we have two shots kind of matching each other, we can look at shot 69 and see if that makes sense. I'll middle button mouse click on 68. That's a little bit too bright. Let's try 70. And that's probably more like where we want it. It's still a little bit too dark. So let's grab our exposure node and push our offset back up a little bit. And again, we're just going to flip back through our other shots, make sure that this feels like it belongs there. For a shot like this that doesn't have a lot of common elements, like you don't see their shoes in the other shots, you don't see the carpet in the other shots, you're kind of just guessing. What I like to do is just look at this image as a whole and switch back and forth and see if it feels like it belongs there. If it doesn't feel out of place, it's probably going to play just fine. Same thing with shot 67. In fact, shot 67 feels like it's also under the table, and it will probably take almost the same grade as 69. So I'll middle button mouse click on 69. It's a little bit dark. Maybe we'll try 68. And now that feels pretty good. Maybe we'll try 70 again. I think we'll try shot 69 and we'll boost up the offset a little bit. Maybe a little more. I'm also looking at the scopes. See, most things in the scopes peak around 640, 512. I'm also going to aim for something like that. Even though this is kind of in the shadows, it's okay if it's a little darker since it's in the shadows, but it should be somewhere around there. So something like that, that feels like it's working pretty well. That works well. Let's try 66. And we can quickly just middle button mouse click all of our shots here. Shot 69 is about right. Those seem to work pretty well together. These match. And 65 should be the exact same as 68. So now when we play through our sequence, everything should feel really natural. Shouldn't be anything that sticks out or feels weird. It should just play and make sense. And that's really the basics of shot matching in Resolve. I think it's a really good idea to break everything out into these different nodes so that you can kind of keep organized. And flipping in between the shots quite a bit is a really great way to do it. The other thing that can be helpful, if we go to shot 68 here and we right click and say grab still, we can open up our gallery and double click on this, and that will load a still image of shot 68. And we can compare this side by side with whatever shots we have. And we can use this as a reference. And if I click and drag back and forth, I can adjust that split screen. There's different ways to split it. I can split it diagonally, vertically, horizontally, but this lets me see side by side what the tone of that couch is like. But a word of caution, nobody is ever going to look at your movie like this. So even if there are little differences here, fixing them might not quite be the very best use of your time. This is good to get kind of in the ballpark, but what's really more important is if you switch from one shot to the other, does it work? And especially if you hit play, does it work? If the answer is yes, then your shots are matched and you've done a good job.